We're back. We're in person for the first time in what, 3 years? Made
Shit,
a
it's been a
comeback.
while.
And yeah, a lot of news, guys. And obviously, the draft is just a few days away now. T minus 6 days to the NFL draft. Raider fans obviously know the pick is going to be Fernando Mendoza at number one. But we're going to do today the first 10 picks of the NFL draft, a mock draft. And honestly, depending on how these first 10 picks fall, it kind of opens the door for the Raiders to maybe make a trade back up into the first round and maybe leave some selections on the board early in the second round. So we're going to go over our second round pick as well. So we'll run through the first 10 picks and then give our second round pick selection as well. Yeah, go ahead, Rashawn, with number one.
You can see my glass here, guys. This is a authentic glass from 2008 Oakland Coliseum. Actually, I believe it was 2009. Kyle Orton came to the Coliseum after the trade for Jay Cutler and absolutely whooped our ass. This guy was a little too young for that, but I was there, and we didn't even score a touchdown. We went all the way to Oakland and lost 23 to 3 in a complete, touchdown shutout game. I remember the only kick was Janikowski made like a 50-yard field goal, classic Jano. But Kyle Orton and Brandon Marshall just took over. I think their running back was Noshawn Moreno, was a rookie at that time, and Jamarcus Russell was the biggest bust, and he can whoop my ass if he wants to. I know he said something about that recently. I'll probably drop it in
Yeah, he was
today.
hanging out with Lane Kiffin too. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
Jamarcus and Lane back together, BFFs. Number one pick, like obviously it's going to be Fernando. And I could gloss over this, right? I think it's easy to do that, but I want to just say, like, we both think Fernando Mendoza is going to be a really quality NFL player. People have compared him to Jared Goff, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think he's a better athlete than Goff. He's more accurate than Goff. I think he has a better arm. If you just watch his highlights, right, it's not that hard, right? You can have all these film gurus out there. Just watch the highlights. He can move, he can run. He's a mobile quarterback. He's nimble in the pocket. And the thing about Mendoza that I like a lot, his mind, the way he approaches the game, the way he approaches life is really admirable. Like I've seen all these things in interviews where, let's say he's getting interviewed by a reporter. He makes sure to do his research on the reporter. There was a story at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He did research on every one of the previous Heisman winners to have conversations with them. This was courtesy of Tim Brown, said that. And so that just shows the kind of person he is. He comes in well prepared. He's going to know the offense. He's already working with Brian Greasy right now. And in that Kubiak offense, I think he's going to excel. I think he could be a top 10 quarterback within a few years.
Brian Greasy sucked ass. So I don't know if
He was Niners
working
QB coach.
I don't know if working with Brian Greasy is a good thing, but anyways, we all know draft starts at the second pick. This year in Pittsburgh, Fernando's not even going to the draft because he already knows as of, probably like 2 or 3, 4 weeks ago, a month plus ago, that he's going to be, moving to Las Vegas, in the near future, staying with his family at home. He's an admiral guy, like you said, and draft starts at number two. So for the Jets, sitting here at number two, I think it's a difficult pick because there's so many stud defensive players, coming up at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's so many good players coming up, but the clear winner, for this pick is got to be Arvell Reese, Ohio State, right?
Yep, Ohio State edge rusher.
Yeah, and Arvell Reese, obviously, the Jets, first of all, defensive coach, former cornerback for the New York Jets. What's his name again? I forgot. I'm a little tipsy.
Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn, right?
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
gonna get fired though, I think.
yeah. I don't think they're gonna last, and I don't think Arvell Reese is a guy that really transforms your team. I think it's more of a, hey, we're at the second pick. I just saw actually recently that Fernando Mendoza apparently declined Jets owner Woody Johnson's LinkedIn request.
Yeah, I saw that
I
too.
saw I saw something like that. So over here, Arvell Reese, one of the best defenders, in college football last year. I believe he's an outside linebacker.
Yeah, he's like an Isaiah Simmons type, they say.
Yeah.
He's an outside linebacker and an edge rusher too. So he's like a joker role, they call it, in that defense.
Right,
But
right.
yeah.
So clear. I mean, this is not going to turn the Jets into an elite contender. I think they're far off, and we know that. But Arvell Reese, we'll wish him the best in New York. Dealing with that shithole of a team.
Yeah, the Jets, I don't mean to shit on the Jets, but they say the
Yes, you do.
owner Their owner picks players. He hires his grandson to pick the players off the Madden ratings in free agency. So Jets are a little bit of a mess. Moving on to number three, I have the Arizona Cardinals taking David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech, formerly at Stanford. You know, the thing with David Bailey, I think my comp for him, unfortunately for Arizona Cardinals fans, is Tyree Wilson, who also was out of Texas Tech, big edge rusher. But the thing with David Bailey is they say his floor is high, right? The fact that you have a big edge rusher, but his arsenal of pass rush moves isn't developed. You know, he has all the traits that you want, but in terms of his production, maybe not quite the level and the upside as Arvell Reese, who has the speed, he has the bend. Kind of his comp is a Micah Parsons, where I would say David Bailey. You know, this is a floor comp for him, but it would be Tyree Wilson. And so the thing with Arizona, though, I think they would prefer Bailey over Reese, so they kind of get their guy in the sense that that versatility, they picked Isaiah Simmons a few years ago, and that obviously blew up in their face. So just picking a surefire guy, David Bailey's a safe pick. He's a double, whereas Arvell Reese are swinging for the fences. And so I have Arizona taking David Bailey. They got a new coach, um, not Mike, yeah, Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur's brother. And so, you know, I have him taking Bailey at number three. Ideally, I think you can see him trading down potentially, but in this mock, I think it's easy to just, you know, flow through the pick. So they end up with David Bailey here.
Shout out Michael Fleur too. He's my dad's boy.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
texted him the other day and
Yeah,
he wrote back and said he'd love to have us at a Cardinals game, in the near future.
yeah.
But obviously, go Raiders. You know this is a silver and black attack. Number four here. Okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna change my original pick. So originally I had the Titans picking Sonny Styles at number four. Kind of a safety linebacker hybrid, kind of doing what Isaiah Palamau does for the Raiders right now. He plays in the box, he plays outside the box. Super fast. Sonny Styles like 6'4" or something, like super big, super fast, runs like a 4.4, 4.3, I remember reading. But Jeremiah Love is still on the board, and he is the best running back prospect since Ashton Genty. And I'll go ahead and say it. He's the best running back prospect, coming out of college since Ashton Genty last year. The Raiders got Ashton Genty. We pray that this year he's going to be better. But I give the Tennessee Titans and Robert Saleh, and offensive coordinator is another famous guy, but I forgot his name. Brian Dable. Brian Dable,
Yeah, you're
LC,
right.
right?
Yeah, you're right
So
about that.
I'm going to give him Jeremiah Love. And Brian Dable gives a big up yours to the New York Giants and takes Jeremiah Love away from the New York Giants and John Harbaugh. Jeremiah Love, honestly, like I don't know if you've ever seen him play. USC and Notre Dame played every year, but if you've seen this guy play, he is explosive and he breaks that first tackle every time. He reminds me a lot of Ashton Genty, actually,
Yeah.
where he breaks that first tackle at the line every single time, it seems. And his secondary speed, I mean, he just blazes through, the second tier. He's gone almost every
Yeah.
time. And that's a surefire pick for the Titans. The Titans are going to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah Love's a great prospect. I think he's up there with Saquon, Genty, Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
He's an all-time running back prospect. So they're getting their guy. You know, I think four and five, I think it's going to be some order of Sonny Styles and Jeremiah Love, right? So in this mock, we have Love going four, and I think the Giants at five are just going to take Sonny Styles, right? Sonny Styles is as good of a linebacker prospect as you're going to find, right? He's Roquan Smith, Luke Kuechly. He's that level of a talent in that Ohio
He's
State
big
defense.
too. He's like six
Yeah,
four,
he's a
six
big
five.
frame and he runs a 4.4,
Yeah.
which is a rare talent. So I think his comp, Roquan Smith, and that he was a top 10 pick. Sonny Styles is a great player. I think another thing is John Harbaugh, when he's with the Ravens, picked a lot of positions in the first round that were not high premium positions, right? He picked Linderbaum in the first round, who was a center. He picked Kyle Hamilton, who was a safety. So he doesn't really care where you play as long as you can make an impact, right? And Sonny Styles, linebacker, traditionally, you don't see that in the top 10. I think his talent justifies it, and I think John Harbaugh, as a coach, has always consistently in the past justified taking guys at untraditional positions who have the talent. So I think Sonny Styles at five makes a ton of sense here to build that defense in the New York Giants.
Yeah, number six now, moving on, Carnell Tate. Okay. Ohio State wide receiver, right? Ohio State.
Ohio
Am I
State
wrong? I
staying
don't
in Cleveland.
Yeah. So staying in Ohio, in the great state of Ohio, the great state of Ohio, staying in Ohio seems like almost one of the most polished NFL ready wide receivers we've seen, in quite some time. And last year, the wide receiver class was, not amazing, I don't think. This year, we got a lot more guys, at the wide receiver position. We got Makai Lemon from USC, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, and Carnell Tate right here at number 6. Why not be the highest receiver, right? Cleveland Browns, okay, Shadur Sanders so far is going to be their guy. We have our old nemesis, Deshaun Watson. I think he's coming out of the massage parlor and he's actually going to maybe play this year, is what I'm reading. Now that Kevin Stefanski's gone to Atlanta and they got the new coach, the former Ravens offensive coordinator, what's his name?
Todd Monken.
Todd Monken,
Yeah.
right? I think they get their wide receiver here. And really, they have their pick. They have their pick of Carnell Tate, Makai Lemon, and Jordan Tyson. I'm biased, so I'll say Makai Lemon is the best receiver in this class. And Jacoby Lane, another USC prospect, is definitely up there too, but he should probably fall to the second round. But Carnell Tate is really reliable. He can high point the ball. He's a possessional receiver. He's not going to blow you away with his speed, but he's going to make the big time catch on fourth down when Shadur Sanders is going to need it down by 20 points. So
Yeah,
that's
I think, yeah, 100% agree. I think Ohio State receivers, JSN, Olave, Garrett Wilson, like all these Ohio State guys have all panned out, right? So I think it's an easy pick to justify. And you're getting a local kid in Carnell Tate. So that makes a ton of sense. Number 7, this is a weird one. Commanders. They were a great team, obviously, 2 years ago in the NFC Championship. Obviously had a down year with Jaden Daniels' health being a concern. But look, they can really do a lot of different things here. I think ideally they want to take Jeremiah Love. If he falls, pairing up Daniels and Love would be electric in that backfield. But I have him going with Mansour Delaney, cornerback out of LSU. And this is kind of a pick, it's a luxury pick for the Commanders, right? They don't deserve the number 7
this is a
pick.
high pick. He's a second rounder, but okay.
I mean, the NFL teams like him, Mansour Delaney. Like, I haven't watched a ton of film on the guy, but he's consensus the number 1 corner prospect from everything I've read and seen. And, they have that LSU connection with obviously Jaden Daniels. And corners usually, it's a premium position. We've seen guys, Texans took Derek Stingley, also out of LSU, I believe.
Yeah.
He panned out really well. Seahawks took Devin Witherspoon at number 5. So, taking a corner early on in the draft has usually worked for a lot of these teams
Mhm.
in at a premium position. Not if you take him in the
Mhm.
teens, that usually kind of fails. But early on, 7 overall, I think
Mhm.
Mansour Delaney could be a hit for them.
Mhm.
And like I said, they don't really have a lot of needs. They can kind of do anything. So
Mhm.
we have them going Delaney here. They could go a ton of directions. They could go receiver too, I could see. But here we got them going Delaney at 7.
Okay, number 8. Now, none of us, I don't think, expected Ruben Bain Jr. to fall to number 8. I remember when we talked at the Super Bowl, you and your pops were saying Ruben Bain is going to be arguably number 2, if not number 1 overall, going to the Jets. But off the field issues, as Raider fans, we know a lot about off the field issues. And I guess he apparently, was involved in a car accident that left somebody dead and deceased. So clearly, going to be one of those Laramie Tunsil stories, which is supposed to be top 3 overall, and then video of him smoking weed in a gas mask comes out. And there you go. He fell to, like, I think number 12 or
Yeah.
13. I think the Dolphins took him at 12 or 13. Ruben Bain, kind of same thing, going number 8 to the New Orleans Saints. And this pick, I think, it could, like you said about 5 and 6, I think, or 4 and 5, I think this could also go both ways. I think the Saints could also take a receiver, especially with their situation right now. They lost their number 1 receiver was basically their running back, Alvin Kamara, and they're not bringing him back, right? And Chris Olave is great, but I don't believe in Chris Olave as much as most people. I think he's a slot receiver that's possessional and can get a first down or two, but I don't think he's a true number 1 product.
Yeah.
So they could go Jordan Tyson, they could go Makai Lemon here, but the Ruben Bain Jr. pick makes sense. They just lost their hallmark defensive end in Cameron Jordan,
Yeah.
who they decided not to re-sign. And after, I guess Cameron Jordan was a rookie the year they won the Super Bowl in 2011. You have to go way back, like 15 years. And they're in a new era now. I think the Saints are still rebuilding. They have a young coach, and obviously they're in a position where Ruben Bain Jr., is going to be the guy that, solidifies the trenches for them. And I could see him doing well, but again, with the off the field issues, you never know. He might not ever play it down in the NFL.
Yeah. So number 9 now, our arch nemesis, the Kansas City Chiefs. You mentioned Jordan Tyson. I have them going Jordan Tyson here at number 9. And like you said, there's a lot of receivers here they could go with. Mekhi Lemon is there. I think the Chiefs would probably favor Tyson just because I think he's faster than Mekhi Lemon. And obviously the Chiefs, we've seen this for 10, 15 years. They like speedy receivers, right? And so getting one of the fastest receivers in the class in Jordan Tyson. He is a little injury prone. I will say that's kind of the knock on Tyson. But I'm hearing a lot of scouts in the NFL really value Tyson, and I could see the Chiefs taking him here. I think it's going to be receiver here. Like to me, if you're the Chiefs, like maybe you go Caleb Downs because you lost your number one secondary player to the Rams. You traded him.
Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, McDuffie. I was
Yeah.
forgetting his
They
name.
lost their backup corner too. I think Jalen Watson is his name. He went to
Yeah,
the Rams too.
yeah. So
Their
they lost
second
a lot.
corner.
They need some secondary
Yeah.
help. But the Chiefs, they need a speedy receiver. I don't even know. Rasheed Rice is still there, but he's a little shaky with his off
Yeah,
the field stuff.
Kelsey's still there,
Kelsey,
signing his
yeah.
junior deal, but on his way out.
Honestly, maybe now that I think about it,
Xavier Worthy.
could they go with that tight end out of Oregon? Maybe
Oh, yeah.
Kelsey replacement.
Sadiq,
Yeah, Kenyon Sadiq.
Kenyon Sadiq. Yeah.
That could be a name to watch if they trade down. I think taking a tight end at 9 is a little rich, but we got him going Tyson here. That's the consensus
Right.
pick. Getting a receiver to probably replace Rasheed Rice if they don't want to pay him. So yeah, Jordan Tyson to the
I
Chiefs.
mean, Rasheed Rice has more problems than that.
Yeah,
He's
I
obviously
mean, of
off the
course.
field. He's not a great guy. And obviously the Raiders took Brock Bowers at 13. So seeing Kenyon Sadiq above that would
Is
be pretty
crazy.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy to say the least. The Ravens at 14 would most likely take Kenyon Sadiq. I
Yeah.
think, Mark Andrews is,
Old.
regressed. Yeah,
Yeah.
old, like regressed player. But rounding out the top 10 here, the Cincinnati Bengals, have the 10th pick overall. And I don't know how this guy fell, this deep in the draft. He's the best safety prospect I've been reading of the last like decade.
Yeah.
Caleb Downs is probably one of the best safeties I've ever seen play college football. And I say that because this guy's instincts and this guy's power on his hits are absolutely insane. Where did he go to college? I can't even remember. Ohio State.
Ohio State,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ohio State. So he's another Ohio State guy in the top 10. I think what's that? Our third, fourth Ohio State guy
Yeah.
in the top 10. But Ohio State is a school of champions, and we've got to give credit where credit's due. Us being from fellow Big Ten schools, we got to give credit where credit's due. Ohio State is a powerhouse. Caleb Downs, his brother also plays in the NFL, I think.
Yeah. Is he? I think he's a Colts receiver, right?
What's his name?
Josh Downs?
Josh
I
Downs.
didn't even know that was his
Yeah.
father. I didn't even know that was his
Josh
father.
Downs. I'm pretty sure Josh Downs is his brother
Yeah.
and changed his number in the middle of the year. And honestly, Josh Downs was awful. He tanked my fantasy team as like my wide receiver 3. But there you guys have it. Raider Nation and everybody else. That's our top 10 mock draft, coming up in person right now. The draft is next Thursday. We're going to try to go live for the draft and be in person. I don't know what
We'll
this
see.
guy's schedule is, but we'll see.
We shall see.
We shall see in that point. But thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think. Do you guys see a different top 10? Do you guys see the Raiders trading the number 1 overall pick and drafting somebody else? Let us know in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, comment. We really need help right now with the goddamn YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, come on, algorithm.
Yeah, come on, guys. YouTube, we appreciate you, but still.
Come on, Sundar Pichai, please help us out.
Help us out, bro.
But yeah, Raider Nation,